Hey guys, welcome back to the Roger and Pace podcast, episode number
6.
Today I'm talking about The Alchemist.
Yes, I'm talking about Homo, the book, and then we go into the weekly lowdown and Elephant Inside a Hotel.
And I've got a controversy with Meghan Markle, racism and white privilege. Then I'm going to move into Full Spoil, where I recommend some cool movies coming out in 2020.
Yep, I go into an Aaron Hernandez documentary on Netflix. And then the Maltese connection, Trump impeachment. After that, CVAs. Some personal CVA moments. My brother and Greg Page from the Wiggles.
I go into a story of theft at Rebel Sport. Then we're going to move into Hefty Smurf, where we're going to be talking about the benefits of weight training. Then we're going to move into Rap School.
Yep,
where
dating
it's
question.
Dating question. No, it's not dating question.
Oh, a career question.
Career question.
Yes.
This time from Seattle. Ending with boom moments.
Yeah, where we share some mindset positivity moments. Guys, we hope you enjoy. This is episode 6. Yeah!
Welcome back. Episode number
6! Man, 6! Woo!
How are you doing? How are you
Doing
doing,
good,
Jay?
Rog. Doing good, mate. It's been a great week. We went bowling
We did go bowling.
and kicked his butt. Still got it, mate. Just woo! So maybe we might put in some videos on that one. No, the reality is that I was crap, as I expected. Haven't bowled in a few years, and that's my excuse. I've never been great, but Roger killed it.
I did okay.
Yeah, he did okay.
I did okay.
Still
Then I
killed
ran
me.
into my friend on the way out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I bowled at 220 or whatever it was."
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like,
Oh
Jesus.
my gosh. And I
Wasn't
shrunk.
very good.
But it's been a good week, man. We had some rains this week, which was great
We
for the
did.
fires.
Yeah, put a bunch of fires out.
Put a
from
bunch
my
out.
understanding.
Unfortunately, they're still raging though. And I think even a plane went down. One of the ones dropping the water.
Oh really?
down.
A water bomber?
Yeah, water bomber went down apparently. Or it got lost anyway. It was from Canada.
Yeah. Really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I just saw it recently.
Okay.
My mum had the news going.
That's
and
terrible.
happened to see a plane.
I saw a terrible video of a water bomber going down in Canada or America a long time ago, where it was flying, and because I believe it holds some of the water in the wings or the fuel.
Oh wow.
No,
Yeah,
sorry, I beg your pardon. It holds the water in the fuselage in the body, and it was pulling down, and the wings both flipped up to the top and crashed, and obviously killed the pilots.
Oh my
It's
god,
terrible
it's so
video,
tragic.
but-
I mean, any
Yeah.
plane crash is tragic, but when they're going out there for
do.
the reason to help
Yeah.
people and the purpose to help people, it seems to be even more tragic. But but the rains have helped. Thank God for that. What else happened this week? Cut my hair, mate. How is it, guys?
You did.
Woo.
Hold on, did you cut that last week?
No, I cut it.
No?
I
When
cut
did I
it
see
in
you?
between. Yeah, the last episode, and
Oh,
now.
that's right, because I saw you on Sunday.
Yeah,
For the
that's
bowling.
right. Yeah,
Exactly.
it definitely helped my bowling. Not really. I also went to the beach yesterday, Tamarama Beach near Bondi.
How was that?
With a good friend. That was great. It was good to just get back into the ocean,
Yep.
and the blue skies have been coming back because of the rains as well, which is nice. Starting to feel a bit of like it's summer. But again, then today the skies were kind of brownish and grey, and you can kind of see them outside now. But it's been a good week, man. Yeah, what about yourself?
Apart from the bowling, went and visited my mum and dad, which is kind of a
cool.
usual Sunday practice. Take the kids there, they play around
Nice.
with their nieces and nephews as well, because my sister lives down the road.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I used to live there as well. So at one stage it was my mum and dad, my sister and her family, and then me.
That would be
My wife.
rad. I would love that.
Yeah, it
I have a
wasn't-
brother in
wasn't too bad.
Colorado. I wish he was here with
Yeah,
his
yeah.
kid, and they have one coming soon as well in May, the first girl in the family. So I wish she was
Okay.
going to be around. And another brother who's like 10 minutes away, but still it'd be great to all be next to each other.
Yeah. I always
So
had
cool.
dreams of, being wealthy enough that I could buy like 5 houses in a row. Just go, all right, guys, family, friends, let's all
Yeah.
live together.
Yeah.
But alas, that isn't happening.
Not
just
yet. Not yet. Once this goes off, hey, that's it.
You know what? I was going to ask your opinion on bowling, because I enjoy it to an extent, but it's like any game where it's possible, you can get a perfect score. Perfect score is 300, which is
Oh, really? Okay.
12 strikes in a row, which is very achievable for a lot of people.
Really?
It happens.
I can imagine.
So I just feel like any game where you can get a perfect score like that and it not be completely out of the realm of possibility seems a little silly. You know, how are you going to beat someone that gets a perfect score?
Yeah, well, if the only thing you could do is tie with them, right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty hard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, I guess then that makes the possibility. Gosh, I haven't been drinking, everybody. No, that makes the possibility of someone winning possible. Then, if there is, but I know what you mean, like because there's like
It's
a
finite.
roof. It's like there's
it's not like a game of
capped.
soccer or
the
tennis.
amount of score. The ultimate score you could reach is capped at 300.
Yeah.
No one can get beyond that. If everyone bowled a perfect
right.
game, you had 10 bowlers and everybody bowled perfect, what happens? Everyone ties.
Yeah, and people do bowl perfect.
Is there a like a final shootout or what?
That's a good question. Maybe there is.
Yeah, with bowling, like
Interesting sport.
yeah,
Anyway,
nice, but good week.
yeah, it was okay. Yeah,
Nice, buddy.
bad. Yeah.
Awesome. What about the weekly lowdown? The weekly lowdown. You know you love the weekly lowdown.
I think we love RP recommends more. Aren't we doing that
RP
first?
recommends. Let's do that. That's right.
All right, I'm going to talk about The Alchemist.
Boom. Oh,
So The Alchemist is a book.
Love that book.
Yeah, I've read a bunch of times, and I kind of read it every 2 or 3 years or so.
really?
Yeah, it's a pretty short book and easy to read, and it's a good little story. So basically, it was written by Paulo Coelho.
Coelho, yeah.
Coelho. I can't
Coelho,
pronounce it
yeah.
properly. Yeah. First published in 1988, and I believe it was published in Portuguese at first.
88. Wow.
Yeah, it's relatively new. I assumed it was a much older book. That's a while ago, but
Yeah, I mean, it's still a while ago. It was written when we were kids because I read it when I was in my early 20s.
okay.
So it was already kind of in. I had lived a bit by then.
Yeah. 65 million copies sold, one of the best-selling novels of all time.
He's got an amazing story, Coelho, as well.
He does. Well, I'll mention that as well because, I'll go into that, but it's an allegorical novel which means that it has like a subtext of, an underarching story that it's a message that it's trying to get across, which is one of always follow your dreams and listen to your heart. That's what it's kind of been summarized as the motif of the book.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's about a shepherd and his journey to the pyramids of Egypt after having a recurring dream of finding a treasure there. So, from my memory, he goes and sees a fortune teller, and she tells him you need to go to the pyramids to find your treasure. And then he meets someone on the way who tells him about his personal legend. His personal legend is his goal in life, and then he gets robbed, and all these kinds. He falls in love. All these kinds of things happen. I won't spoil it at the end.
Yeah, don't spoil the whole book. Yeah, but the story of life unfolds pretty much for him, right?
Yeah.
Like I read that book in my early 20s, just before I kind of launched off and started pursuing acting and went off to live in New York and then eventually Vancouver and LA. And that book was one that really, the timing of it was great because it inspired me, to dream and to follow my heart and to try and fulfill my personal legend and fall in love and go on that wild adventure. And I think it's a great book especially for the youth, but for anybody really, because it's never too late to reinvent yourself and to stir yourself back up again and to go out there and live the life you want to live, especially if you're even more so, I guess, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s and you don't feel like you've been true to yourself. It's not too late. Don't be on your deathbed with regrets. With regrets.
I read it at a critical time as well. I was in LA for only the second time, I think, and my girlfriend at the time, bought it for me, and I hadn't heard of it.
Oh, wow, that's special.
Yeah.
So she's connected to that then.
She is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes the book even more special. I love that. I'm sentimental.
Yeah, so too sentimental at times.
Yeah.
But did you know it was first released by an obscure Brazilian publishing house, and it sold okay, but then the publisher decided to drop the rights, give it back to Paulo, and leave it at that. He wanted to heal himself from this setback because he thought it was going to be this massive thing. He wrote it in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And he said that
that's amazing.
It wasn't difficult because he had already written it in his mind. It must have been obviously deeply connected to him. He went with his wife and spent 40 days in the Mojave Desert, came back to, I think it was in Rio de Janeiro, I believe, yes. And was so convinced that this was going to be a great book, that he started knocking on doors, pushed it, and then now it's one of the top selling books of all time.
Mate.
65 plus million copies.
Wow.
I'd highly recommend it. 4 stars.
How's that as an example to don't
persistence.
give up on your dream and be persistent, and like it's biblical, knock and the door will be opened, and ask and you will receive, and it's hard to keep listening to that and believing in that when you've had rejection after rejection, but you've good
Those
on
stories,
him.
you hear them all the time.
I know you hear them. I know there's a lot of stories, maybe they don't unfold that way, but like I obviously
you wouldn't hear the
ones that don't happen, the failure ones. But he's got another great book, The Pilgrimage, and I believe he wrote that before The Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, amazing. Like pretty much, I believe it was a true story of his trip on the road to Santiago. Yeah. They also call it the Camino Trail.
The Camino Trail.
Yeah.
Camino, Malta.
Yes, I know, right? You think it's but no, Malta's not on the path, unfortunately. But yeah, it's pretty much from the south of France all the way through Spain into Portugal, and they end at I believe it's St. James's Church.
Yep.
And people put stones. They have this big stone pile in front of the church. I believe they've had to do something about that. But it's one of those bucket list things for me that I want to go on that journey. And it started by reading that book, obviously. But yeah.
What do you recommend, Jay?
I've got another book. I'm recommending Homo Deus by Yuval Noah Harari. He wrote the Sapiens book, The History of Mankind before that. That one he wrote in 2011, which became a New York Times bestseller. He wrote it in Jewish, I believe.
Hebrew.
In Hebrew, sorry. He is Jewish. He's Israeli, but he wrote it in Hebrew. That's right.
Okay. Bill Gates.
That was in 2011. In 2014, became he printed it in English, and Bill Gates says it's one of his top 10 favorite books.
It's a big endorsement.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that guy reads a lot. But Homo Deus is a follow-up. I believe it was written in 2016. But yeah, I've got some notes here. The book gives the reader a brief yet profound idea of where we've come from and how we've advanced as a society, particularly in regards to getting a firm grip and control over war, famine, and plagues. I believe in his first book, he talks about how our history, obviously, and how we've eventually, I know there's still war and plagues and famine going on, but we've pretty much got a hand over it, and if it happens, we don't see it as a thing that just came out of nowhere and a thing from God. We normally put a blame to it now. We see it as human fault if a plague happens or if there's wars or something or famine. But the book sets out to examine possibilities of the future of Homo sapiens. The premise outlines that during the 21st century, humanity is likely to make a significant attempt to gain happiness, immortality, and godlike powers. He states that mankind is always trying to overcome something and needs that big goal. And now that we've overcome famine and war and plagues pretty much, that we're now looking to become more godlike and extend life and to live forever. I'm telling you, I'm only like 25% into this book, but I'm learning so much about what's going on, where technology and science is going into the future, what they're working on, what they're trying to build. It's like, it's mind-blowing, it's scary, it's interesting, it's exciting. It's a bunch of things for me, and I'm only 25% in. It's amazing how much this guy knows, and I was just amazed how much information he was able to condense into one book. And to make it make sense as well.
He's got a bunch of great books. Once you mentioned that to me, I went having a look through. And,
he's got another one, 21st century, something about the 21st
century chivalry and sieges during the 21st century, something like that, which is quite interesting.
Wow. I'm definitely feeling a lot more aware of what's going on in the world now, especially in the realm of science. Even like politics, just starting to read this book. But I do have some cons, just quickly. It's very obviously evolution theory based and doesn't take into account the whole spiritual realm, which I personally am a believer in, the whole spiritual world. I've had personal experiences with spiritual encounters. I know family members and close friends who have as well, and I've read a lot about it too. So it doesn't take into account all that book. I've got here that... this book is largely based on science and history and the things which our finite minds can understand and comprehend, and doesn't take into account anything else beyond our comprehension. And because our minds are limited, it therefore leaves a lot out. A spiritual person or anyone who believes in God may find this book very limited or foolish, or at worst may find it a little offensive and belittling. So, but I still recommend reading it.
Offensive and belittling.
Yeah,
How?
offensive because he pretty much disregards God and
okay.
God's existence. So,
Gotcha.
So I give it a 3.5 out of 5 so far.
So far.
I'm still into it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you are you reading it, or is that audio?
It's an audio book.
Audio.
Yeah. I find that I have more time to listen.
Of course.
When I'm driving and at the gym and on the cross trainer, or it's going for a walk.
You can retain more information that way as well. I don't know if it's.
There are times where I'm listening. I'm like, oh God, I would have liked to have rewinded that, or just gone back or wrote some things down. And I'm in the car and I can't. And I can't do that. So but I do like listening and hearing things.
Yeah.
And you hear the way they pronounce certain words as well. So
that's
it's
true
good for pronunciation.
All right, let's move on. Weekly Lowdown. Shall I begin? Yes.
Go for it,
All
buddy.
right. So there's this show in England called Question Time, which is very similar to. It looks like it's similar to Q&A that we have in Australia. Political show. Have a panel of people ask some questions and have questions from the audience. Awesome. And there is a British actor. I hadn't heard of him before, but he seems to be doing quite well. Laurence Fox is his name.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him really, but I wonder if he'll get
successful.
more work now.
It's a good question. I don't know.
They're claiming he won't, right?
You'd think that, wouldn't you? But he hasn't done anything.
No, he hasn't done anything wrong.
You know. So he had a bit of a confrontation with an audience member, and without saying too much, well, let's just watch it. I'll show Jay.
We'll put this in a
picture-in-picture.
Yeah, picture-in-picture for the YouTube viewers anyway.
And see what you think.
The problem we've got with this is that Meghan has agreed to be Harry's wife, and then the press have torn her to pieces. And let's be really clear about what this is. Let's call it by its name. It's racism. She's a black woman.
Right,
And
so
she has been torn to pieces.
You can't.
She has been torn to pieces.
It's not racism.
It absolutely
is.
is.
We're the most tolerant, lovely country
Laurence Fox decided
in Europe.
not racism. And listen to what you said.
It's ready to charge of racism at everybody, and it's really starting to get
What worries
boring.
me about your comment is you are a white privileged male who has no experience.
I can't help what I am. I was born like this. It's an immutable characteristic. So to call me a white privileged male is to be racist. You're being racist.
You cannot dismiss. Okay.
All right. So this is just it's almost beyond belief at this stage.
It's getting really silly, huh?
So she absolutely believed what she was saying, and I completely believe she's incorrect. So she's arguing that the attention from the media and the harassment, and I mean, I do believe it is harassment, so I do it in inverted commas, but it's not physical harassment, you know what I mean?
So she's been bombarded a little bit by
Obviously,
the press.
she's
In
going to get bombarded.
what way?
You know?
I'm not too familiar with what's been happening with the royals and
I don't really know. I mean, it's more just the attention that she's getting.
okay. I mean, you're going to get attention. You're married
course
to
you're gonna
Prince
get-
Harry, and
She was already going to get attention because
Yeah.
she's a famous actress.
and she comes from
Now she married from a
her background is being an actress. It wasn't like your aristocratic.
exactly
upper
not from
class
and
kind
not
of-
even from a super upper class family, from my understanding, all that kind of stuff.
So people are going to talk, but does that have anything
Regardless.
to do with her color of skin? If she was a white actress, blonde, white,
She would
blue-eyed
okay.
actress, she probably would still receive the same.
Well, Lady Diana. Now, she was hounded by the press to the point where she was tragically killed. Was that racist? Was that because she was white?
They won't say that now because it's
Right.
yeah.
So, and to be
And is
perfectly...
the press just white people? Are they
good
just?
point.
I just
Good
thought
point.
of that now.
Yeah.
Is the press just white
Yeah,
people?
that's a very good point.
Because if it's mixed
it surely
race, which
isn't.
I'm sure it is,
Right. Yeah.
then who's being racist?
Exactly. And first of all, I honestly didn't know she was black. I knew she had something.
I did
It just
not
never,
either. I thought she was
she's
tanned or
tan.
something, or
Yeah.
like had a mix
Of something. But
Yeah, maybe
okay,
South
so
American or
she's
something.
yeah, so she's black. Okay, maybe she
But her
is.
dad's a white guy.
Yeah. So she isn't. Anyway,
So
it's,
she's
it's,
not
it's
total-
beyond the point,
yeah.
right? And then she says shit. So there are actual people that believe this, that Meghan Markle is being attacked, and this is probably contributing to the reason why her and Prince Harry have decided to step down from royal duties. I believe that was part of the argument or the whole topic of conversation.
Okay.
So because of race, that's why she's being harassed, which is seemingly incorrect. And then she has the gall to then say to him, as a straight white, as a white male, as a privileged white male, she said,
Yes. Yeah.
that's racist and sexist, 100%. So he's not allowed to have an opinion because he's privileged. And I believe from my research, his father was an actor. He comes from a good family. Like he didn't slum it in the streets. Like how is that a bad thing anyway? And he's he's male and he's white. How is that? So he's not allowed to have an opinion because he's privileged, male and white.
This is where we're going from one extreme to the other, and that's not going to solve the problem. Like we've talked about in earlier episodes, we need to find that we need to do things together, and we need to find that happy middle ground, you know. But we're having these guys come up because it's like a hot topic at the moment, and you're almost cool if you're supporting, you know, the minority and being totally into the whole politically correct. What is politically correct these days?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost saying like, being racist now themselves. Like they're trying to fight racism with racism.
Exactly. The
Like
solution
that is not
is-
the answer.
and
that's
that's-
not politically correct.
No,
if
and
you want
those
to be
people,
totally honest.
they don't understand the contradictions that they're continually putting forward. So exactly what you just said. Her argument against him is to be racist towards him.
Yeah.
You know, and she can't see it. If you watch, when you see the video, in her eyes, she's like, oh, this is as if no one understands me, all you bigots, basically. Whereas if
She had this self-righteous look about her a little bit. Hey?
Yeah, and it's crystal clear what she's doing. But I was going to say, like, I can't understand how people can think so irrationally. But then I go on TikTok and Facebook and I see these videos, prank videos, right? Of there are endless amounts of ridiculous prank videos and terrible acting, terrible video, not funny. I go into the comments, 10,000 comments, and people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he said that. I would have told him to get effed and this and that."
Right.
And I'm like, "Are you guys serious?"
It's like those gold digger movies, right?
they're all mic'd up, right?
Yeah.
It's obvious
So
they're all in on it.
They're just trying to get the million views.
But how can they
But
possibly
there are
get
people
it?
that believe it because we have
Thousands,
there seems
millions.
to be an audience out there.
There is an audience.
Dim-witted
Of
almost,
dimwits, right?
Is it bad to say that? We said dim-witted. But there are, though. There are people
It's
who
true,
are,
man.
who are out there who are just so gullible and they believe everything.
Yeah. I
know.
can understand if it's like an older person, you know, like if my mum, for example, saw something like that, I would understand if she would believe it because she's not exposed to massive amounts of social media and what's going on.
and what
And
can
she
be
wouldn't
done.
understand, like, why would someone make a fake, what
Yeah,
for fun?
she couldn't
That's not
comprehend
funny.
that.
Yeah. But everybody else, surely they can comprehend because the majority of these people are on these platforms day in and day out commenting and watching things like this and believing it.
Believing it.
So that's why we have crazy people in the world. Thank you,
Yeah.
TikTok. Thank you, Facebook.
Thank you. Suck it
Jay,
back. Mate, I'm bringing in, it's not as weird.
bring it home.
It's not as weird as it has been the last 3 weeks,
Save
unfortunately.
that for next week.
But yeah, I think we've got a good
Eels.
one for next. Yeah, oh, mate. But an elephant, a wild elephant, walks in to the Jetwing Yala Hotel in Sri Lanka. Imagine that.
I
So-
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he
So
just
this
strolled in.
elephant just walked into
Oh,
this
yeah.
this hotel in Sri Lanka, but apparently it's a regular occurrence.
Okay.
They even have a name for the elephant. It's Natakota, which means short tail. Apparently, it has a damaged tail that lost its tail somehow. But they do warn guests that he is still a wild elephant. And they would like to keep it that way, so they advise the guests to not feed him and to not take flash photography and to mind their space.
That seems like a massive health and safety hazard.
Yeah, big time, huh? I
You
wonder
think?
what their insurance bill is. But
it must be different in Sri Lanka.
yeah, no,
I don't mean
right?
to sound racist, but I assume it is different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like you're not going to get away
You'd
with.
want to be at least covered then.
Yeah.
Gosh,
What if you
in
had
case
kids?
Oh,
They're running
man,
around.
I
and
mean,
you
yeah,
get
like
fucking
don't go
Stampy
there.
over there.
Jeez. But this elephant seemed pretty harmless, and it knocked down a lamp, and it looked like it was trying to pick it up.
I've seen some videos of elephants going nuts. And when they go crazy,
nuts,
you're
especially
finished.
if you freak them out, and rightly so. And it's a wild elephant.
Yeah.
But there were a few funny tweets, though.
I bet.
Like a common theme from people was obviously let's talk about the elephant in the room. that was bound to happen. Yeah, already. Was it this one? Oh, there you go. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. And then one Twitter user said, waiting for the bellboy to step in and ask if he would like help with his trunk. Oh!
That's not bad.
All right. All righty.
Jesus
Quiet, guys. Quiet.
All right. Settle down. Settle. Jesus.
Settle.
Done. Okay, good. Didn't realize they go on.
But that's about it, mate.
Okay, let's move on. Fool's Paul.
Is it Fool's Paul? That was the weekly lowdown, yes.
Yes, it was.
Bam.
All right,
we're already up
Paul.
to Fool's Paul. Wow.
So,
bam.
Yeah, today I was going to, I saw Frozen 2. I was going to review that, but I thought there's not much to review there.
No.
It was okay. Not as good as the first one.
It's doing good, right?
Of course it's doing good.
Yeah.
$1.45 billion.
Whoa.
That's in takings from the cinema. Forget about the merchandise. What's it going to do for merchandise? So it was always going to do that. And I felt like it was good. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think I've seen the first one.
The first one's a good movie. It's to see even if you're not a kid. Anyone can watch that. This one is more just for the kids, I think.
Okay.
Had some good themes and all sorts of things. It was not bad, but it just felt like they were writing it and changing the story of the first one, bits and pieces, to accommodate the sequel. Do you know what I mean? Like as if they never planned for number 2.
Oh.
So then they're trying to sort of
they made so much
skew the
money
story
that they thought we have to do it too.
They were always going to do it after.
Do you think there'll be a 3?
I'm pretty sure there will be at some point. But instead, I'm going to quickly talk about a couple of things and then give my picks of good films coming out in 2020, which I believe you have a few too, and there are some exciting ones. I will just let you know. Sorry, go on.
There's a lot of 80s kind of resurrections and throwbacks going on.
But the first thing to know is, did you know Jurassic World, I think the 3rd movie in the series, looks like it's going to be filmed in Malta.
Whoa.
Yeah. I saw a couple of Maltese pages that I follow on Facebook talk about it. So it's obviously not official yet. Doesn't surprise me because they do film a lot of films in Malta. Sorry. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah, nice. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
When are they planning to do that?
I assume
sometime this year. Film
it would have to be towards the end of the year.
Yeah, wow.
It's obviously like pre-production at the moment. SAG Awards were on.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix did a great speech. Talked about
the other actors, right?
Other actors. He went through Christian Bale, Leonardo DiCaprio.
That was sweet.
But he made a good point of talking about Leo when he was always like second to him in auditions. That would have been cool to imagine what that would have been like, you know?
Yeah, wow.
Going up against Leonardo DiCaprio every time and losing out. And yeah, you saw some of the clips from that.
Yeah, Brad won
and
best
Jennifer Aniston,
supporting. Jennifer Aniston, and they had that moment together apparently as well. And I mean, look, they look like they're still good friends, and why not?
Yeah.
And that's nice to see, huh?
She's great, Jennifer Aniston. She's not underrated.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of her performances.
Really funny.
I haven't seen her in the morning show. This one she won the award
watch
for.
That
I want to watch
Steve
the
Carell.
show.
Yeah,
looks
like
he's
a really
in
good
it. Wow,
show.
that's awesome. And is it comedy? Or is it
I
drama?
don't know.
Or a bit of a mix?
I think it's a bit of a mix.
So many good shows coming up.
But she is great in comedy. I don't know if you've seen Horrible Bosses #1.
Oh, she's in that.
She
That's
is
right.
Fantastic.
I saw her in that. Yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah, she's great. And I watched her. And was it Along Came Polly? I believe she was the one in that one.
Yeah,
Along
with
Came
Adam
Polly.
Sandler.
No, I think that's the one with Ben Stiller.
Oh, Ben Stiller. Beg your pardon. Yeah.
Yes, and she did. I think she did do one with Adam Sandler, or that's the other one.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Anyway, I'll go straight into the movies coming out in 2020.
Yeah.
Coming to America.
Ooh.
#2.
Eddie is
August
back.
2020. Eddie's back. Arsenio Hall is coming back. And the plot, I believe, is he's got a long-lost son. It's set in New York, yeah? He's got a long-lost son.
Coming to America? Yeah, okay. I can't even remember. I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
Me neither, but it was, I'm pretty sure that was it. And he's got a long-lost son that he's got to come back for. That's all I know. I think James Earl Jones passes away. And and not James Earl Jones, the character passes. He's still alive.
I believe so,
Yeah,
right?
he
I hope
is.
so.
Yeah, the character passes away.
He was
Anyway,
in Field of Dreams.
yeah, that's right.
Right?
Good.
Build it,
And,
and he will come.
So that'll be a good one. That's going to get a lot of people coming. I mean, Bad Boys 2 is out at the moment. I don't really have any Bad Boys.
I've got a couple friends that are big fans of that stuff,
Yeah.
and
Looks
and I
pretty
get
average,
it.
but-
But I'm not a big fan of
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
But this will draw a lot of people.
I could
Yeah.
understand the fan base.
Yeah. Fast and Furious number 9.
9.
I haven't seen
Is
number
that a
8.
record? I haven't seen.
gotta be.
I can't remember the last one. Maybe 4 for me. Or
I
5.
remember I went to the cinema specifically to see the one where Paul Walker was in.
Yeah.
The last one. And that I found was beautiful. And I cannot believe that they didn't end it there. I was on, I saw Tyrese Gibson post like not long after the release that they signed on to do the next one. I was like, oh man, that was the perfect time to end it. Like
Yeah, wow. Not if it's making
you're not
money.
breaking
hey?
new ground. Like,
No, but it's still making money.
I know,
I
but how
guess.
much money do you need,
Oh
man?
my gosh, not enough.
Anyway, well, and it doesn't look like Statham or The Rock will be in this one because they
Yeah, see, they got into
their
it.
own one.
That's right. Yeah,
Hobbs and Shaw.
that's right.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, of course. We've spoken about Top Gun, Maverick. We've spoken about it's going to be the big one for me.
Yeah.
No Time to Die, the last Bond film for Daniel Craig.
Yep, that's going to be special.
Wonder Woman 1984 looks awesome, looks retro. I still haven't seen the first one, but I know
I haven't
based
seen
on
the
reviews,
first.
it's really good. She's done a great job and really good for DC because they really struggle compared
need
to
some
Marvel.
help, yep.
Yeah, so this is like their flagship film, which is great for women as well. Not
yeah.
just saying that, like it's
See, that's one where
proper-
a woman is in the lead role,
Yeah.
and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Obviously, it's Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
but we're not like I'm sure white men are going to watch that, and they
I'm
have
sure
been watching.
plenty of red-blooded white men will go and watch
All right.
her in Wonder Woman. And I'm going to make an effort to see the first one, and then so I can
Yeah,
ready
that
to
would
see
be
this
good.
one.
Yeah, we should.
Dune. Have you seen the original of that?
No.
I can't remember it, but I know it's a huge story, and it's got a very impressive cast. Timothy
Oh, Chalamet.
who was in Interstellar. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah.
Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Zendaya,
Wow, that's a
and
massive.
Jason Momoa.
Wow,
It's a freaking awesome cast.
I think it's Chalamet. I think his last name
Chalamet,
is.
yeah.
Is as well. But wow, that's a massive cast.
Yeah. And to wrap it out, Tenet, which is the one I'm probably most looking forward to, which is Christopher Nolan's next film.
Oh,
I don't even really know what's it about, but it looks like it's more along the very like shape-shifting lines of Interstellar and time and all that kind of stuff.
He does
which
all
is
that
what he's
stuff.
great for.
I can't. What was his last film? I mean,
It was
be
Dunkirk.
oh yes.
So it was
okay,
a
he did
normal
that one.
film, yeah.
I haven't even seen that. Have you
That's
seen
a great film, yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
A lot of people
I need to
didn't
get around
like
to
it,
that.
but
1917 we need to watch.
we need to
There's
watch.
so
We
many
was meant
films.
to watch it last week, as we said.
it wasn't showing.
Yep.
Even though it said online it was showing.
Bastards.
But there's also
What else?
Personal History of David Copperfield with
The Magician.
Is it Dave Patel?
Is it The Magician?
Yeah, The Magician.
No.
Yeah, I believe so. David Copperfield. Is it
No,
The
but that's
Magician?
no.
Or is it
no.
another guy?
There's another David Copperfield.
There is.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
I didn't even watch
'Cause
the trailer, but
saw-
I just was blown away by the 95% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
David Copperfield is. I don't know who he is.
There is the magician guy.
Yeah, but that's not what this is.
Yeah,
about.
I don't think he plays the
You
magician.
know, he's
guy,
like.
right?
You know how rich David the Magician is.
That David Copperfield, the magician.
Yeah, you don't
guy.
hear
Yeah,
much
yeah.
about him, but he makes like hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
Wow.
And I didn't realize he was still doing shows. He must be in Vegas, just pumping it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Joe.
That's where
I'm just looking up David Copperfield.
There's also Bill and Ted Face
Oh, that's
the
great.
Music. Come on, man. This one's been a long one in the making. They've been
very long
yeah.
because they made 2 movies, didn't they? Bill and Ted's Excellent
Excellent Adventure
Bogus Journey.
and Bogus Journey.
Great.
So cool. So connected to my childhood anyway.
Anything.
69, dude.
And he's so
Say hello to the babes, princesses. Whoa.
What
dude.
princesses? You'll see.
he's great. He's so hot right now. As
Yeah, who Keanu?
yeah.
Yeah, he's cool what you hear about him.
Can't see what this is
Okay,
about.
so you can't see what David
I'm
Copperfield,
pretty
which
sure
one
it's not
it's
about the magician, but yeah,
yeah.
95%. That looks great.
Yeah,
What else
I
we
mean,
got?
yeah, that's pretty rare score, man, for
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes. But I'm also wanting to actually give a review on something I watched
Okay.
over the last few days. It was a Netflix documentary called, what was it called again? It was Killer Inside the Mind of Aaron Hernandez, the ex-professional American footballer from the New England Patriots. Amazing, man. It tells the chilling homicide case of Aaron Hernandez. It was very well done, well edited. The storytelling was amazing. They really draw you in. They make you feel for both sides, and they really went into his mind. And I was just mind blown that there was this young, successful guy. He was like 23 when the case started. And
So he murdered some. I don't know the story.
Yeah, it was proven that he murdered a young man. I believe it was in 2013. I haven't really written down the dates or
Is
anything.
it anything
but
to do with concussions and?
Well, there was a bit of that come up later on, but some people argued that's not enough. Like other people have had it, but they haven't gone off and killed people. But he did donate his brain after. I don't want to tell everybody what happens. Yeah,
Spoiler
he did.
alert.
Yeah, I guess it's a spoiler alert. There we go. I mean, I'm sure most people knew what happened to him. I kind of went into it believing, I don't think, he's alive anymore. But he donated his brain, and they found that there was a lot of
Damage.
Yeah, damage done in there. A lot of space that was opening up. Part of this, the brain was eating away, and
Jesus.
and it affects decision making and causes rash decisions and everything like that. So
sorry to interrupt, but you just reminded me. There's a thing that happens. I'm just going off the cuff here because I've heard of a condition that a lot of French people have actually, which is why I've got a couple of French mates who are super extreme. But it's like a bacteria or something along those lines that's in your system, but it's kind of dormant. But if you have major trauma, like a head injury or car accident or something, it can trigger this this bacteria, and then your how do you say? You take more risks. You become more of a risk taker. Like your personality will change.
Yeah, wow. They didn't mention anything with some bacteria or anything.
No,
they just took it straight from being head injuries from the football, which is scary. There was a guy in the series that actually gave up. He was a professional player, and he gave up after his first year
because of that.
Just thought it was too dangerous.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Didn't want to risk his.
Same
there
with
were a few
fighters.
suicides. It causes people to commit suicide. But I've got here. It was just. Yeah, it had me thinking, like, how does an extremely young man who's popular, doing a job he loves, he's good at it. He was very good at it, right? The team really wanted to keep him. And you're talking about an amazing team, the Patriots. He's popular, he's doing a job he loves, he's good at it, and making a ton of money. He's got a girl, he's got a nice girl, he's got a kid now. And how does he still want to kill and put his life at risk like that? I mean, it's sad he wants to kill, but then... not only is he ending a life, but he's pretty much ending his own life and taking that risk. It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But the way they tell the story is amazing. There's a chance he may have killed a couple other people a few years before he started playing, and he was playing, they think, while he was still, like, the case was unsolved for about 4 years, and there's all these links. It's very well told. I highly recommend it. It also talks about his sexuality. Apparently he was... bisexual, and he hid his attraction to men, and so it brings up the themes of homosexuality and the need to talk about it and express it and create an environment where it can be well received within families. And one of his good high school mates who he played football with was on the show, and his mate's father, they were all very close, and apparently the friend and Aaron Hernandez had as teenagers sexual experiences together. Which they had kept secret, So, it's great to watch. I think it really goes into the headspace of a young, talented guy who was struggling with, bisexual issues. He wasn't just homosexual, but there was sexual orientation issues going on that he was ashamed of because of society. He was dealing with fame, and even as an American college football player, the stuff he got away with, and the mindset that created within him that he could get away with things as well, and how that was toxic as well. I think he went to one of the universities in Florida. But yeah, it was a great watch. I really enjoyed it. It's only 3 episodes, about an hour each.
5.
No, I thought it was 5. But it was actually just 3. It ended at 3, and I
1 hour.
Wow, yeah, 1 hour.
Okay.
So 3 hours, a 3-hour watch, worth it. I
Excellent.
think so.
All right.
I
check
believe
it
I'll
out.
give it a 4 out of 5. A 4 out of 5. I'll give it.
Great.
Bam.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, let's move on. Maltese connection.
Maltese connection.
Back to Trumpy.
Trump.
Old Trump.
Mate. They're in the impeachment trial at the moment.
Impeachment trial, which probably doesn't
Seems to
mean
be dragging
much at the moment.
and
It's
dragging.
dragging on. It's quite confusing for a layman.
Read a lot about it.
Yeah,
but I
didn't
don't
really
feel like I was
found much.
making ground.
Yeah, so we're going to be pretty quick with this. Basically, what I saw was, the Senate trial is underway.
Yes,
And,
finally.
Yeah, at the moment, because it was in the House before.
Yeah,
they decided
House of Reps,
goes to the Senate. At the moment, all that's really happened is the rules of the trial were debated and decided upon, which sound like they're quite similar to the rules for when Bill Clinton was under impeachment. Under the rules orchestrated by Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, who's the majority leader, the House managers and Mr. Trump's lawyers will each have 24 hours over 3 days to argue their cases for and against the articles of impeachment. And senators will have 16 hours to ask questions submitted in writing. After that, the Senate will again consider the matter of whether to subpoena witnesses or documents. That's a big sticking point at the moment. At which point a few Republicans have signaled they may be open to doing so.
Okay, and Trump's kind of vacillated between wanting that and then not wanting that, and wanting that and then not wanting that. I think most Republicans are against it extending and getting more witnesses.
Yeah.
Dems are totally for it, right?
Of course.
I believe I read something about Mitch McConnell wanting it to drag. They think he's playing on boredom as well, hoping that after the 4 days and then they have a rest day on Sunday, hoping that everyone will be out of their minds, bored by then, and not want to extend it on both sides. But I don't know where it's going to go. Apparently, Trump has admitted to withholding funds from the Ukraine, but he said he did it for other reasons.
Okay.
The Dems are trying to prove that he held it because he was trying to pressure the Ukraine government to bring up dirt on Biden, but the Dems don't really have evidence for that.
Yeah.
They're trying to conclude that that's why you did it, and trying to. It's common sense
It's
that
a
you
long
did it for all
stretch.
that,
Yeah,
but we don't really have hard evidence of that you did it for that
And
reason.
you're going to have to convince the majority of Republicans that that's your
that's
your
the
story.
case when you
That's
don't
the
have
case.
hard evidence.
They're going to be hard to sway anyway.
I'm a little confused as well. Like I'm sure they've tried to get information from the Ukraine of like discussions
Surely,
done during the time, and any were the text messages, emails, phone calls done that between Trump and the Ukrainian government that has him saying like, I need you to do this for me, and if you don't, I'm going to withhold funds and blah blah blah. Like, but there's nothing. So
nothing. They would have brought it forward by now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I mean, that's that.
Trump seems not too worried. He went on a tweet storm. Recently.
He broke his record, his presidential record.
Yep.
Apparently his all-time record in 2015 was 160-something tweets. But his presidential record was...
In a day.
In a day. His presidential record, he just broke, though, with 141 tweets in 24 hours.
Try harder.
Yeah. There was one point, I believe it was in 1 hour, or there was one point of time where he was averaging about a tweet every...
3 minutes.
Every 88 seconds.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so he's punching them out there.
I told you, I subscribed to see some of the crazy stuff he says. And
your phone was going off? Do you get notifications?
I've got like a silent notification, so it pops up at the top. And it was just like, I was trying to do something.
Did you think Trump was contacting you? Trump. He's come through, mate.
I don't have power.
He's found your number.
Ukraine.
Yeah. Roger, I need you to keep
Tremendous.
the files hidden.
Bigly
in your mouth shut.
What else you got?
That's about it. We are the World Economic Forum, which is a little off
not too much, really,
but still into politics. But Greta,
like
is it Greta? Someone
Thunberg.
said, Thunberg or Thunberg. Someone said, but anyway, 17-year-old.
Good on her.
Yeah, addressing the inaction that's happening. Trump seems to just be all about doomsayers and let's be positive and we're going to plant a trillion trees in 10 years, which is cool. And Greta was all cool with that as well, but she doesn't think that's going to solve the problem. And I get her argument too, you know, like if we're just so torn about what's true and what's not, right? And with the whole, and we won't go into it in this episode with climate change, and because I know there's money makers on both sides of it. There's companies on both sides of it. And who knows what we're hearing, what's true and what's not. And it is a little bit confusing, you know. But yeah, that happened. That's in Switzerland. They believe that the whole WEF, W-E-F, it's kind of like just a hangout for all the rich and powerful people.
WEF protests.
Yeah, the World Economic Forum. Yep. It's kind of gotten a reputation of being
Davos
is the city, is a town in Switzerland. Yeah,
very wealthy town, I believe.
Skiing town. Okay. And they're saying that this meeting that happens annually, the World Economic Forum, is just some hangout for rich and powerful people to plan and discuss ideas on how to become more rich and powerful. Yeah.
Colonize.
And I could see that
colonize
happening.
Mars.
Talking about like 100 billionaires go to this thing. Wow. So imagine the place. Yeah. I mean, imagine working there. That's some good tips, probably. You'd hope so. Jeez. All righty, mate. All right. I think that's enough for Maltese connection. Cool. Nah. CVAs.
All right. Do you want to go first on this one? What have you got?
Yeah. All right.
Let's talk about my
brother Steve had a CVA moment last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, last weekend. Yes, that's right. He is the drummer for the Wiggles. Yes, the kids group who perform for kids and adults now. They have an over 18s performance thing now. They do for their
sounds a bit weird.
Older fans who have grown up now.
Performance.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to see that. Sorry.
The costumes stay the same. But no, he was at a gig. It was one of the over 18s gig, actually. He was performing. They had just finished the gig. So they were at the Castle Hill RSL, I believe it was. And all their old fans from many years ago are all over 18 now. And they're all there having a fun time and reminiscing and going through the old songs. And it's been a great night. And it was the first of 2 nights. And one of the main Wiggles, the yellow Wiggle, Greg Page, just as he was walking off the stage, just about to get to the side and to the wings and go off into backstage, he collapses. And no one's really noticed it much. Most of the group, the crowd is screaming for more and another song. And are
the curtains drawn at this?
No, not completely. But apparently somebody had drawn the curtain like about a quarter or something in because he was on the floor there, pretty much on the stage. And I believe the Blue Wiggle and the other guys had gone out to perform a little bit more, and my brother then kept playing because obviously they're performing and he had to keep the beat going. And my brother said that he saw one of the crew members, Kim. She called out, she was yelling out, Greg's down, and like my brother was trying to understand what she was saying, what was going on, and he saw Greg's feet like kind of popping out from behind this curtain, and he felt something was wrong, and he had a moment. What do we do? But he recalled that he had something in him to say, you need to get up and go and help this guy. And he listened to it. So he decided to drop the music, let them keep doing their thing. Told the bass player, I need to go help him. And he ran off and he got in there. Apparently there was a doctor trying to help him, and Kim was trying to give him CPR as well. But Steve, we both work for Life Without Barriers. It's a youth organisation, and we're trained in CPR. So he went in there and he said, I know CPR. And he started going in there and he was keeping the rhythm and doing the whole CPR thing. And then Kim was helping him on the side. And apparently there was a nurse in the audience as well, 23-year-old young nurse, heard something was happening, so she went up to the security, said she was a nurse. They let her in, and luckily the venue had a defibrillator, yes, and they used that on him as well. But apparently, while my brother was doing CPR, Greg finally came back to life and started breathing again. Apparently for a while he was gone, he was dead. Yeah. And my brother said he was like pale and he was getting clammy and cold, and it was so scary. And he said the body was trying to respond, and yeah, very scary stuff. But
when that happens to someone, the chance of survival is generally
slim.
3%.
It is so slim, yeah. And apparently when the paramedics came in and they came in. They were like, like you guys kept him alive pretty much. Like, you know, Steve, Kim, the nurse, was a team effort. Yeah, I believe there was a doctor there before that as well. And everyone kind of pitched in to help keep him alive until then they got him going and got him to hospital. And thankfully, Greg's alive, mate. He's doing well. He just got out. But yeah, my brother had a moment. He wouldn't talk highly of this. In his own words, he said, you know, that's what you do, right? You help people out. You do it for anybody. But I believe, and you believe as well, it was definitely a CVA moment.
Absolutely.
You know, a moment of chivalry, a moment of
took control,
healthy masculinity. He took control. He made a decision. You know, he's just new to being one of like a touring and performing drummer for the Wiggles. He had performed on their records, on their albums as a studio drummer, a hired gun they call it. But he's just joined on recently as a drummer for when they're touring and doing live shows. So he could have said, I need to keep the show going.
Yeah, pretty nervous too.
But he made the call, man. Saving a life. He didn't know exactly what was happening, if he was dying or not. But he felt something, said, you got to go and help, you know. And he chose that over playing the drums, which I thought was very chivalrous and a great, healthy moment of masculinity and manliness, man. So that was really cool. And the media have been talking about it and newspapers and this, and he's kind of a little bit over it, and you know, he feels a bit uncomfortable by it all. But Greg's been very grateful as well, and written to Steve and the other people, and obviously he's very appreciative of it all. So yeah, it was a great. I think so. I mean, it was not a great moment, but it was great. In the end, it's a great story, you know, and luckily Greg made it, and it was just a great story of people coming together and putting, you know, putting life first before performing, or you know,
it's good,
dropping everything and
really
stepping
proud
up
of
to
his
the plate.
brother.
Yeah, very proud of him. So good on you, Steve-O. Steve Pace, personal on Instagram, if you want to check him out and check out his drumming stuff. But what have you got, buddy? You had an incident at Rebel Sport, right?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. So I mentioned it last week, and because it tied into the quote, the boom moment, which was do something each day that you're afraid of. That scares you.
That you're afraid of.
Kind of pales in comparison to to your brother.
What Steve-O did?
Yeah, but there is a point with it.
Each step of bravery counts.
I'll be really quick with this one, but essentially I went to Rebel Sport, which is a sporting store, big department sporting store, and I went to pick up an item, and there were a couple of young, they look like troublemaking kids. It came in, and you know, it might have been around 13, 14 years old, but skinny. I don't know how to describe them without sounding discriminatory, but they were like skinny, and they had like a bum bag and these particular shorts that a lot of these, we call them lads wear. Yeah, lads. If you know what I mean.
The lads.
And they walked in, and one of the kids grabbed something and threw it on the counter, like indiscriminately, you know. And I thought that was a bit strange, and like as if he's going to buy this. And it was rude to the cashier as well, who was standing there with another customer. So I was waiting in the queue, and they were like, "Well, hold on, mate. Like, I'm talking to this customer." He's like, "Yeah. I'll just wait here." And I was like, "Oh, this is funky." And then I saw the guy behind him, this other kid who had come in. Meanwhile, there was a fourth one waiting outside, who looked like he had grabbed something. And you know how they have the electronic monitors at the entrances? So if you walk out with something, it triggers an alarm. But he lifted it over the monitor.
Jeez, no one's watching.
And left. No one's watching. They're all kids there, basically.
Working there.
And but there were heaps of people. Like, it was super obvious. And I went out, and then, I don't know, like, I just folded him outside. I wasn't planning on doing anything. And I caught up with him, and he ended up sitting down at this chair further down and was hiding something under his chest. I'm like, all right, this guy's stolen something. What do I do? It's Rebel Sport. It's a big store. I don't want to get into trouble. There's 4 of these guys. I don't know if he 100% stole something. He might just be playing a game. Maybe he was disabled to a degree, which had crossed my mind because his behavior was very erratic. The way he was smiling at me as well.
You think like he had a mental disability or something? Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it is possible. And that kind of held me back as well. It's like, well, what am I going to do? What would you do? I want to confront the guy because I'm pretty sure he stole something and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not going to beat him up. Like, it's like, you know, show me what's under your shirt. And if there's nothing, then it's fine. If there is, let's go back inside and put it back, and that'll be the end of it. But I decided I was going to leave it.
Because there's
I'll
also
report it. Yeah,
there's also the risk of, especially if they're not mentally all there, that they could have weapons and they won't hesitate to use them.
Well, if anyone is going to have weapons, it's going to be these kids.
Yeah, these kids.
The way they were behaving and their demeanor.
So you had a decision to face.
Yeah. So I thought, all right, well, let me go inside and just check on the other two because they were super dodgy as well. They were all part of the same group. I went and waited at the entrance, and they were still there waiting at the same spot, and they were talking loudly and being strange. The guy was outside, so he was next to me, the watcher. And they spotted me, and then they said, one of the kids said to the ringleader, let's just go. And then as he walked past, the ringleader kid, who was, funny enough, the smallest one out of them all, but the biggest ego, says something to me like, I don't know, like it was like a smart ass, hey, how you doing, brother? Something like that. And then, as I said last week, like I've got a bit of a switch and can't really control it. It's not the best thing. And I told him to get fucked, get the fuck out of here, fuck off. And
how did they respond?
It was on from there.
So it was the two guys were walking out.
Yeah.
To be with their other two mates outside.
Yeah, so the mate who stole something was further down, so there was just kind of three of them in my immediate vicinity. And they turned around and said something like, oh, what's going on? What's your problem? Like sort of shaping up.
Yeah.
And I was... I don't know how to say it. Like I was frightened because I didn't want to have a problem. I wasn't scared of them because they were young and I didn't look like they had a weapon. And I can run pretty fast. Like, I can get out of there if I had to,
Yeah.
But who wants confrontation?
Yeah, any
what am I going to
kind
do?
of confrontation is going to stir you up. Yeah, exactly.
So I just stood my ground and said, I repeated myself and I said, get your thieving mate and F off, out of here now. And then fortunately, the guy, and I stood my ground, and it was a big relief when the guy behind the ringleader tapped him on the shoulder and go, "Come on, man, let's go." It's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, well, it didn't
reminded me
escalate.
of Eddie Murphy in Delirious. Have you seen All Raw? One of them where
it's been a long time since I've seen that. Yeah,
he talks about being at the club and this Italian guy. This Italian guy is there in the club with his girlfriend and spots Eddie Murphy. The girlfriend spots Eddie Murphy and says something to him, and the Italian guy is like, "What are you looking at him for? What's he got?" Or he gets jealous and he goes up to Eddie Murphy and tries to start a fight with him. And Eddie Murphy acts like he says he can act like he can fight, and that gets you out of a lot of fights. The first thing you do is get your voice all high pitched. What the fuck are you touching me for? What's this? And you act all crazy. Come on, let's go. And then if you do that, it was kind of like that.
If you act crazy
and you act like you
most
can fight,
people are wild.
You're gonna get out a lot of fights.
This guy's a wild one, and he'll go. He'll push the limits. So,
but in Eddie Murphy's skit, the Italian didn't fall for it, and the Italian guy goes, "Come on!" He's like, "Oh shit!"
Oh no.
Anyway. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen
fortunately.
for you, thankfully.
I got a bit angry at the staff there because there were like 6 or 7 young kids working there. They
they
ignored it. And I said, hey, you guys,
I wonder if they're in on it or some of them.
I felt like they were either in on it or they were just completely oblivious. And they were a bit rude when I told them what had happened.
Rebel Sport, where? Should we mention
Hill.
where?
I spoke to them afterwards and they said they were reporting it to the police.
Yeah. So
we'll see. But the whole point is I'm happy that I did do something.
Yeah.
You always have to be cautious because you don't want to get yourself into trouble, and you have to make that decision. Like Steve did, he made obviously. My story is in no way in comparison to Steve.
It was a different situation. But you still had to make a choice.
Decision.
Do you stand up for what you believe in?
Yeah.
Do you involve yourself in this? There could have been something
serious
stolen, and but you're not all for that,
and I believe. Sorry, Jay.
And maybe if you hadn't done anything, they would have stolen more or done more things there. Who knows? But your presence there and just standing at the door there.
And it goes into the story last week at the movies, where most people are just happy to sit idly by while bad stuff happens.
No confrontation. Let's just be agreeable and
exactly.
And let's just be quiet and keep ourselves safe. And you don't know if he has a gun or she has a gun or
my wife says that all the time. What if he's got a gun? Yeah. It's like, well, you can't.
And there's probably times that you have to make a call each time, but you feel great when you do stand up.
Well, that's my point. Afterwards, I texted you. was so full of life. It's sad to say.
There was an adrenaline release as well.
Shit's going down. You know, something happened.
The fight response kicked in.
And you get full
with all the adrenaline and the hormones pumping through you. And have you done skydiving?
Yeah.
I've never done it. Yeah, shoot, man. I mean,
that's
I'm not a
risky,
heights person. Hey,
no, but this is different. I'm not a heights person as well. But when you're in the plane, you can't really see the ground.
That's what I sometimes think.
It's not like bungee jumping. Bungee jumping is like
I would rather jump out of a plane
100%
for that very reason, because I believe that you kind of lose perspective when you're up in the plane.
Yeah.
And you've got also somebody with you and who's a professional expert who pulls the cord, right? As well.
Hopefully he does.
Hopefully he does. Hey buddy, we're getting pretty close. And he's like, knocked out, eh? Oh gosh.
It's happened before. That happened recently.
Yeah, what if he has a heart attack? Gosh. I mean,
there's a reserve chute, but if the reserve chute
are you trained to know when to pull the cord?
You don't do anything. If you're a
say like you've done the jump, you're expecting your professional jumper who's on your back tandem. You don't do anything if you're tandem. But say the guy, if you've jumped off and he's for some reason passed out, he had a heart attack or just something happened.
He should automatically deploy depending on the chute at a certain altitude, I believe.
Oh, so he doesn't even have to pull the cord; it just deploys itself.
I'm talking a bit out of my ass here, but that's what I've heard.
I was smelling something.
Oh God, Jay. But that's my understanding.
Is it? No, I don't know which one it is.
Let's not go through. That. All right, let's keep it going. But my point is, I get frustrated when someone says, "Oh no, don't do anything because you never know who they are," or whatever. That's true, but if we keep doing that, we're just appeasing all the bad people in the world.
Yeah, that can't be our go-to response all the time. Yeah. There has to be moments we step up, especially if it's for something we believe in.
And not just something
and that needs to be done. Like, no, exactly. We're not saying go and punch somebody and go and be the man. That's not being masculine. But
or if someone's injured or having a problem with something and everyone else is walking by because they don't want to get involved or they're too busy, someone's got to get in there.
It could even be like sticking up for someone who you see getting teased or disrespected at work or in your school. Step up and confront that and say, hey, that's not cool. That shouldn't be done. Or go to the people above you, the principals or the teachers who can maybe do something about it, we're all for stepping up for what's right and confronting things when they need to be confronted.
Cool.
Awesome, buddy.
All right. Hefty Smurf.
Hefty Smurf.
So this is going to be a nice, simple one.
Weights training.
The
importance of weights training.
We are both advocates of it. I've done it all my life.
Yep, love it. I've done it not my whole life. I started around 16, I think.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Most of my life, mate. Yeah.
You don't really want to start weight training earlier than that anyway.
Right.
Even at 16, you're kind of pushing it. I mean, I trained fairly light at 16. Wasn't doing much, like just learning the ropes. I'm sure you were the same.
Yeah, I was mainly training for running, but I was doing a lot of weights training. Maybe more than I should have back then. I was a little overzealous, but it definitely has been. I believe the earlier the better. I've heard before and many years ago that the body shape you have as a teenager, or the body shape you work on and foster as a teenager is the one you'll likely keep throughout your life.
Really? Okay.
And the amount of body fat you have as a teenager is usually the amount of body fat you'll keep through life.
Wow, that's interesting.
The amount of body fat cells. So, so if you're very overweight as a teenager, you can lose that weight, but you won't lose the amount of fat cells that your body holds. So those fat cells can either be big or small. And when you've lost weight, they'll shrink, but they'll still be there. And then if you're lean as a teenager, you won't have much fat cells. So, and then when you go into adulthood, those fat cells will either grow if you don't look after it, but there won't be a lot. So you'll never really be too overweight. Or you'll stay pretty lean. And I was pretty lean. I was very lean, actually, as a teenager. I got to about 3 or 2% at one stage. It was actually dangerously lean.
Jesus.
I remember a personal trainer who was a good friend of mine as well was telling me at one stage, man, he goes, if you get into a plane, it's dangerous for you, man. You need to look after yourself. I had taken it. Like I said, I was overzealous with my running. I was training way more than I should have and eating way too strict. not carb loading enough, not resting for races, and to my detriment, I ended up blowing out, having an ulcer in my bowel around 18, 17, and had to stop running altogether. So, yeah. But, weights training is so important.
Yeah, and not enough people do it. I understand.
Not enough people do it.
Got my wife into it now. My mum has been doing it for a little while. Like, there are massive benefits. There's a lot of stigma with it.
The main key kind of workout for fat burning. I think just hopping on a treadmill.
Sure, we'll talk about that. Yeah, hopping on a treadmill
takes ages. You need to.
It's boring.
It's boring. Yeah, and you need to do so much for it to really make a difference.
Put some muscle mass on. Your metabolism increases. You don't have to be as lean to look lean because you've got muscle coming out.
Yeah, and it's starting to shape your body.
And
plus, just shape that muscle growing. Yeah, is metabolically active 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So that's burning. The more muscle you put on, the more
calories
body,
you're burning
the more
throughout
calories
the day.
you burn throughout the day. So then you're burning more. So if you keep eating the same, then you're going to lose body weight.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're eating more calories anyway.
I'll shoot through some of the benefits that I've got written down. But as we get older, the more muscle mass we have, the less likely we are to die prematurely. So research in 2014 from UCLA found this out. And in other words, the greater your muscle mass, the lower your risk of death. So that's across a whole myriad of conditions. And
the greater your muscle mass, right?
Yeah.
And after 30, muscle mass starts to decline.
And it's harder to grow.
For both men and women, So even more so, you need to be training to at least maintain or keep up, like keep
nothing
more,
crazy,
put on more. So it's even more important as you get older. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. It's just bound to happen.
Right. Improve sleep patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Obvious progress. So what that means is it's something that you're doing that is noticeable. If you're doing it right, you're going to see more muscle.
Yeah, and that's one thing we love about training. Like we've talked about with Roger, touch my hand again. That's one thing we talked about. Like say, for instance, with acting, we've talked about, I've heard other actors talk about this too, like with acting, you can put in all this hard work and it doesn't necessarily
manifest anything.
Into your career blossoming, Like if you put in this much every week, you're going to see this much improvement. But with weights training, it's going to happen. And that's what I love about it. It's definite.
You do this, you get
There's
this
a science
result.
to it.
It's maths.
Yeah.
Increasing bone density, that's a big thing, especially as you get older.
Mm-hmm. Big for women too.
Osteoporosis, huge for women.
Yep.
Testosterone boost, so you get this surge of testosterone. You look better, obviously. You become stronger. As we said before, increased metabolism. And one of the major things, and I was a personal trainer for many years, and I would have female clients not want to do weights because they were afraid of getting bulky.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Man, I would say to them, like, do you know how hard it is for a man to put on bulk, serious bulk?
Yeah, let alone
a woman who has less testosterone. It's much harder. And I remember this one girl who I got her to do wall squats with a Swiss ball. So you put the Swiss ball on your back and you do like unweighted squats. Mm-hmm. She did 3 sets of 10, like super easy. And she didn't want to do them, and I said they're fine. The next session, a week later, she said to me, I stopped doing it. I don't want to do that because I noticed a bit of muscle, like a lump of muscle come on my leg. I don't want to get bulky. I was like,
man.
That's the end of her.
That's just toning.
Yeah. But
that's
in 1
the
week
end of her.
from doing no weighted squat, there was none. It was all in her mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she believed that.
She predetermined that weights were bad. Weights are not bad. Weights are great. You should all do them. What do you think, Jay?
I believe, like I mentioned earlier, it's the key to fat burning. I rarely do cardio training. I'll probably do a 10-minute warm-up.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll do a 10-minute cool-down on the cross trainer. I find it extremely boring. My cardio, and if you want to do cardio, I encourage the high-intensity interval training because it's a combination of cardiovascular training, cardiovascular fitness, combined with like strength endurance. So you're still getting a workout. Yeah. You're still improving your strength endurance, and you're working out your heart because you're not resting as much and you're doing everything quick. So that's a great fat burner, I believe, and great for fitness. But I'm just a big believer in doing weights. I think doing weights first is great because then you use up, I know it's an ATP energy store workout, like you use your ATP energy stores when you're doing weights, your creatine and everything. But it also, you have your glucose and your glycogen, your stored glucose in your muscles, and it's the glycogen that's the stored glucose in the muscles, I believe, and the glucose is what's in the blood. You use that for weight, so that by the time, if you do cardio last after weights, hopefully you've exhausted any glycogen and glucose you have in your body. So then your body is forced to use like storage.
Yeah.
And
like
because
stored fat.
Yeah, stored fat. That's right. So then doing cardio at the end is best. Plus you do your weights while you're fresh. Whereas I used to believe, you have to do your cardio first for half an hour or whatever, and then you do your weights. And I used to find that I would be flat doing weights, and I would end up using my glycogen and glucose doing cardio. Then by the time I got to weights, you can't use stored fat when you're doing weights. It just doesn't work. It's not a good energy source for weights training. But I've got some things here. It wakes you up. I believe it. When I do weights, especially in the morning, it wakes me up. It makes me feel confident. You know, when you've done something hard as well and you feel good about yourself, and then you go into the day thinking that you could do all the other hard things you need to do as well. When you've beaten that mindset thing. Actually, a trainer, I wrote down something here. John Carrico, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's a fitness expert. He gives this number one tip: show up. Just walk in the door. Just put the video in. Just put your exercise shoes on. If you don't feel like doing it, just take the first step toward it, and then see if you can take the next step. Carrico also recommends getting your friends and family to work out with you to increase motivation. He says put yourself in an environment with other people who are like-minded and want to work out as well. Recruit your network. And then he goes on to say, this section, I want to find, he says, weightlifting teaches you the skill of perseverance, right? The ability to overcome discomfort and challenge yourself, which is so important, such an important skill for life, because you're always going to have this uncomfortable situations that you have to do in work, in love, in life. Where is it? He says, weight training teaches you to push yourself when everything tells you to stop. When your muscles start to give out and it burns and it hurts, he says, when we get into those high intensity situations, we have a choice, right? We can either stop everything and try to return to our comfort level, or decide that this level of discomfort is worth the reward. That decision, that it's worth persisting through that uncomfortable situation, 100% contributes to successful situations in other parts of our lives. So that's one of the big things with weights training. I think it's just such a great mental trainer. Yeah. It teaches you to just do what's hard, to get up and do what's hard, and that leaks out into other areas of your life. And I find when I do it first thing in the day or early in the day as well, it just makes me feel confident. I feel great because I've got a hard thing out. And then I want to tackle more things through the day. So
especially when you get a bit of soreness happening and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, it's good soreness, you know.
The worst thing for me is not doing the workout in the morning, knowing I need to do it in the afternoon or at night time, and thinking,
and then you dread it, and it can really slow you down through the day. So I recommend doing it nice and early. I think if you're just starting off, start with like maybe cable exercises, right? Calisthenics, I believe that's how you say it. Maybe doing some hammer strength machines, and then maybe getting into dumbbells. But
eventually you want to get into
dumbbells and free weights, barbells.
Unilateral.
And if you want to start with that straight away, I mean, you just have to start light.
Yeah.
Lighter weights, lighter dumbbells, lighter barbells.
Yeah, so we've both done personal training. So if you want a very simple workout, just shoot us an email at rogerandpace@gmail.com. Yeah. We will send one over, entry level, obviously.
Yeah.
If you want. But
both have, personal training experience, group training.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Bam. Weights training, get into it, guys. Encourage you to do so.
All right. Rap school.
What's the question?
Let's hammer this out. Hi, guys. I'm 23 from Seattle. I have a question regarding my career and future. Essentially, I left school, went to college to study law for no real reason, other than it was kind of expected of me by my parents, and I guess I just never really thought about it. I'm almost finished my studies, but I'm beginning to question why I'm doing it at all, and is this what I want to do with my entire life? I know I can make good money and I'm good at it, but I feel I'm just doing it for no real reason other than I can. Should I finish my degree or ditch it perhaps, do something I really love? I have a passion for photography, but never really pursued it other than taking nature snaps when on vacation with my family. Any advice would be appreciated. Ben. Jay.
Yeah, wow.
23,
Thanks,
Seattle.
Thanks for leaving me with the...
do you want me to start?
No, I can start with this. He's 23. He's still very young. He's got his whole life ahead of him.
Yeah.
Congrats to him for at least getting all the way to nearly finishing your degree now. I would recommend if you're close, just finish it now. Just close it out. It's good to be a finisher. And it's always great to have a good degree like that and something. I believe as I've gotten older as well, I used to believe, there's no plan B. And a lot of people push that to you, you know, and you have to go all out, no parachute, you know. But being a little bit older, I wish I had done some more bits of study to back me up as well. I think it's very important.
Yeah, which wouldn't have affected anything you've done.
Not really. No. Especially even if you want to do it part-time and do it over 6 years or 8 years and get your degree whilst you're pursuing something. It's better than just pursuing something for 8 years and having nothing, because with the arts, I'm a big believer in pursuing what's in your heart to do, but life does go on and nothing is guaranteed, and it is a hard road to go down. Nothing is guaranteed. So you'll have to make money anyway while you're pursuing. Pursuing an artistic career can be expensive as well. To do classes, to go to workshops, to buy equipment, especially photography, cameras, and those lenses are crazy expensive. You know, and the editing suites and stuff like that you need to use, the equipment you need, it's expensive. So and just life costs money. Obviously, you have to rent, you have to buy food and gym memberships and phones and whatnot. But so you need to make an income. So you're going to be needing to do some kind of job, at least a part-time job, if not more than that, to afford living, especially if you're in an expensive city and you're living away from home. So maybe getting this degree, not only could it be a job he gets into, as long as there is time to pursue his dreams, if he can be a lawyer and pursue his dream on the side and slowly build it up. And then if it takes off, awesome, man. Start dropping the law hours down, go to part-time, and then if it really takes off and you don't even have to do the law job anymore, just do that then and go for it, you know. If you can keep both going for a while and keep the income flow coming in, then great. I mean, Rich Roll did that. He was a lawyer for a while, and then he cut it down and he started just being like a freelance lawyer, and eventually his thing took off with his podcast and his racing and stuff like that, and his book, I believe. But because if you pull out now, he's so close to getting a degree. He may never go back. He may never have the motivation to go back. So then a half degree doesn't count, you know what I mean? So he might as well finish it while he's in the groove and he's still young. And then he can freely, even if he wants to not even use the degree and not get a law job, but maybe he'll need to then just get some job, maybe with less pressure, cafe, whatever, you know, part-time job, retail, while he starts pursuing the photography, and then maybe do that for 3 years. If you really need to answer this question, am I good enough to do photography? Can I make this happen? He might, as he starts getting older and priorities change, and he might meet someone, he might want to get married, he might want to invest in a house, he might then, and if the photography hasn't picked up yet, he might want to then maybe step into the using that law degree and step into a law job, and he could do that and then still pursue photography. You know, I think we need to believe that you can still pursue things whilst working. You have to be working, and you can choose to work a pretty decent job, or live, you know, some dead end job that might not even allow you to afford the pursuit of your art. What do you have to say?
I agree with you. In a nutshell, I would definitely obviously finish the degree. I think he's thinking that anyway. You know, wouldn't make any sense to end it now, especially at 23.
No. Again, he's so young. 23, man.
And he's not even sure if he loves photography. So the best thing to do is finish your degree, you know, do whatever you need to do, get a job in law or something else if you don't want to, see if you like it. But in the meantime, especially for photography, like you don't have to go to university or college to learn photography. That's something you can do on the side.
You can learn online.
Working, get a good camera, get some equipment. Masterclass, I'm going to do this masterclass. I'll recommend that next week actually.
Yeah, masterclass.
Great app
I want to
program.
get into that.
It's fantastic. Where you can learn photography or skills in photography. It's very easy and very cheap to learn photography.
Yeah, you can go under the wing of somebody, a professional who's already doing it.
Yeah, you can do that on weekends, whatever. There's the possibilities are endless. So I would start that and explore what you really want to do. It doesn't sound like you want to do law, but
I think because if he finishes this degree and then he can go either work in law while he pursues photography or go work some side job doing whatever while he pursues photography. If in a year or 2 or 3 he decides he doesn't even want to do photography or law, having a degree will make it easier to step into some other subject area, some other field of work. He can then go on as a postgraduate and maybe do a master's for a year or 2 in something else instead of having to start a whole degree again.
And there is something to say for finishing what you've
I think it's a good habit to learn, to finish what you start.
And that will tie into the boom moment for me anyway.
Boom.
Which is, well, it sort of does. Again, it's from The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
It is the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting.
I love that.
I believe that. So for him, for Ben, keep that possibility alive.
Yeah, we're definitely into believing that dreams can come true because they have for people. It's not guaranteed, but it can. It's the possibility that makes life exciting, right?
Exactly. And that's why I always say a lot, and very successful people talk about this as well, like when they become wealthy or successful or famous or whatever it is they're pursuing, that it's never as good as, the wolf climbing the mountain.
Right? Yeah. The fun is in the journey.
Or even just the possibility of
getting it.
Of something happening. Yeah. That's why acting is so alluring. It's because you never know. Maybe
it's the climb. It's a climb. It can happen. Yeah. But then once you get to where you want it to be, then you'll probably set another mountain up, or another bar
what's
to
good
reach.
Enough?
Yeah. And that's just human nature.
Yeah.
So, and that's another, it goes into like just making sure you enjoy the journey, because that's usually the main part. And it may be the only part.
Yeah.
You may never reach the top of the mountain. So make sure you enjoy the journey of it too.
What have you got?
I have, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. I believe it, Epictetus is how you pronounce it.
Very nice. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think if you, and this is probably an easy one to take on if you're a beginner and you're starting at something.
Yeah.
But I've felt it in my own life as well with acting. The older you get and the longer you've done it for, and you've done all these classes, and then you don't kind of want to do classes anymore. And I get that as well, like when other people have felt the same. But you can tend to feel like, I've done a bit of work now and I've done it for a while now and I'm this age now. And if I go to a class and there's a bunch of young people, I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't want to make a mistake, because then it looks like I'm crappy or I'm not good enough. And I think if you, that's ego and that's pride, and you feel like you get caught up trying to prove that you're good enough, and that keeps you then keeping everything safe and not wanting to step out and go beyond what you've already done, and therefore you're never going to grow. But if you stay humble, especially as you keep getting older and advanced and further into your craft, I think if you keep remaining humble and keeping that mindset and that attitude of being a student of the craft or anything in life, it could be business or the job you're doing, even in your relationship, if you keep open to, there's always something to learn. I'm not a pro at this. Even if I've been married, say, for 25 years, I am not a pro at this, and I want to be open to learning. I've got here that, this attitude will humble you and open you up to take risks, as you are not caring about possibly making mistakes and falling flat on your face. You are not trying to impress and show how good you are. You are solely trying to learn and get better. And by having the courage, therefore, to go into new territory and try new things, taking risks, you will most likely better yourself. Pride, on the other hand, can keep us from taking risks or doing anything that risks us looking foolish. And therefore, we stay to what we know and what's safe and comfortable. And it also implies that you need to take action as well. In order to come across as looking foolish or stupid, there must have been something done, right? So action must have been taken, because you can learn and get all this head knowledge on something. Like you can learn about photography, right? On masterclass and online classes, and be learning on how everything works and how to use the camera. But it's not until you go out and try to start using the camera and taking action where you're going to start fumbling around. And, when that head knowledge has to become practical knowledge, that you can start making the initial mistakes. But it's that fumbling around and making the mistakes and coming across foolish and stupid that you need to go through that phase. It's a necessary phase to go through before you become a professional and an expert. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And that's a phase you need to go through to keep upping your level as well. So
cool.
Be comfortable looking foolish and stupid. Awesome.
You have no problem with that.
No, mate. That's my middle name, mate.
All right, let's leave it there.
Is that it?
Beautiful.
Wow. Is that episode 6 done?
Episode 6 is now
Wow,
complete.
guys. Hey, we hope you are enjoying this podcast series and the YouTube videos. If you are, please leave us a message, give us some feedback, give us a rating, share the podcast, right? Or the YouTube page on Facebook or any social media accounts that you can share. We'll share it with friends and family. Spread the word if you're enjoying it, please. And if you have any listener questions, right?
Yep, please shoot them through. You can shoot it through on whatever format, but preferably Gmail,
Yeah,
Roger
email,
and
yeah.
Pace at gmail.com. I am RBJS on Instagram, Jay.
I am Mr. MR. So MR, John Paul Pace.
And we are at Roger and Pace as well.
Yep.
That's it. Let's
Boom.
get out of here.
Thanks for listening, guys. Love yous. Woo!
See you guys.